It's pretty exciting. It's kind of interesting how businesses evolve over time. They're never what you think they're going to be when you start.
No,
for sure.
You had a plan even back then, and you were open enough to be listening to what people were looking for. The challenge with that sometimes is that when we evolve in that direction, we're not honoring our true self.
There's a discernment between having shiny object syndrome and just doing whatever anybody tells you to do, versus noticing when there's opportunities that come up that feel really true to you and who you are and what you're about and what you want to follow.
Hey there, superstars. I am so excited today because I have a special guest here with me. This is someone that you've heard me talk about many times on my videos. This is the famous Leeann Webster. She was my very first enrollee into my Inner Circle program. This was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And so she's here today because I want to interview her. We're going to just talk about a whole bunch of the topics that I've talked about on this channel. And we're going to pull a bunch of interviews from them, pull a bunch of videos from them about topics so that you can get it not just from me, but you can hear from someone who's implementing what she's doing, how she's growing, how she's transitioning, evolving, some of the lessons she's learned along the way, some of the things that we've done together. So today's going to be a really fun day. So welcome, Leeann. I'm so excited to have you here with me.
I'm thrilled to be here. This is so much fun.
All right. And I feel so excited because I just saw you a few days ago at the Performance Academy, which was also the Superstar Summit. So in case you don't know, I do an event once a year with all my clients where they come in and they workshop new material over the course of 3 days, and then we perform it in front of each other with hair and makeup and cameras and videos and the whole 9 yards. And I bring that up because Leeann unveiled some new content at the Performance Academy, and it's part of the transition that she's going into. So just to give a quick background, Leeann has been doing email marketing, marketing strategy, helping people build their email lists, produce telesummits for many years. And now, for the last couple of years, she's been transitioning into a new area. So why don't you tell us about what you're up to, Leeann?
It's pretty exciting. It's kind of interesting how businesses evolve over time. They're never what you think they're going to be when you start.
No,
for sure. And then I think the trick with being an entrepreneur is to have that you talk about this a lot, that equanimity, right? You have the goal and you want to be clear that you're going for this goal and working on it, and then be unattached enough that when other opportunities come along, then you can kind of ride those waves and take advantage of that, go where that free energy takes you. So it's been an interesting ride. I mean, you've known me for most of the time that I've had my business.
Yeah.
And when I met you, I was positioning myself as a strategic coach.
Remember the busy girls coach, right? The busy girls
guide. First of all, busy girls guide to running.
Yes,
with two-sided business card.
She had a double-sided business card. So on one side, it had Busy Girls Guide to Running, and then on the flip side, it had
Busy Girls Guide to Business.
Busy Girls Guide to Business.
Because I had realized, oh my gosh, that I put this whole business together for the running, motivational coach for women runners, because I started running when I was 40, and I thought, there's other women who might want to do this, and so I started that business, and as I'm promoting that business, then people kept coming up and saying, like, I love when I went on your website and you have that thing where you get the video series, and I love this and that about your marketing. Can you help me do that? And after a year...
Hey, I'll just launch another business.
Right? I was like, okay, because after a year, no one was hiring me for the running.
Oh.
But I had all these business clients organically, so it just started me down that path.
Well, there's that example of what you were talking about. You had a plan, even back then, and you were open enough to be listening to what people were looking for. The challenge with that sometimes is that when we evolve in that direction, we're not honoring our true self. Right. So is that part of your story too?
Well, yeah, and that's part of where you came in. Because what I found was there's a discernment between having shiny object syndrome and just doing whatever anybody tells you to do, versus noticing when there's opportunities that come up that feel really true to you and who you are and what you're about and what you want to follow.
Right.
And so it's like being able to tap into that piece and honor that piece and be open to what's being presented to you.
Totally. Okay, so back to our story. You had a 2-sided business card.
Yes.
And we met.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, girl.
That went out the window really fast.
Well, I had done a branding presentation in Chicago, in your hometown, at the American Express event for women. And it was about building your brand. And Leeann came up to me afterwards, and she's like, I want to work with you. And I got her 2-sided business card. And I don't think I said anything right then, but I did.
She was like, interesting. Okay, yes, we'll have a chat.
I can help you. So back then, and where were we going with this story? We wanted to show the transition,
yes,
right?
The transition, okay. So then I started working with you, and I remember when we first started working together, I said, well, I kind of do these things called Telesummits. I help people build their email list through this specific type of event. And you were like, there's a whole business in there. And I'm like, really? Like, do you think? Sure enough. The next few years, I spent just doing telesummits. Still do telesummits now.
Yeah.
So it was like calling in an expert that would help me kind of see me and what I was doing in a different way and help me understand the opportunities that I had in front of me. And I followed that path for a number of years. And then I expanded. So it was like, I realized not everyone needs, wants, or should do a summit. And there were people who maybe didn't have a foundation that they needed, like a lead magnet or some basic foundational items together. Or they would do a summit and then they wouldn't know how to continue to nurture the list.
So when she says summit, you want to give us a quick overview of what you're talking about?
Sure.
What a summit is?
Sure. A virtual summit, a telesummit's the old school way to call it. It's a way to build your email list. So it's kind of like a interview series or a virtual conference.
Okay.
The host interviews 8 to 20 experts. All of those experts promote to their list, and then the host collects the emails for the registrations for the event, which is free, and that's how they build their email list.
Beautiful. All right. Back to your story. So we identified that there was an opportunity there.
Yes.
And we narrowed the focus. So if you've heard me talk about branding and business, one of my big things is that when we go narrow, we can go deeper, and we can provide more value and usually charge more, right?
Yeah. Well, and that was I have so many lessons from you. But one of the big lessons I remember in that very first workshop that we did, and you said, go narrow, focus in, just do the summits. And, because that then has me focus on coaches, speakers, and authors. So it was narrow. And I was like, I remember feeling that. I don't know.
That resistance.
But it was the best thing in the world because then people would see me. I literally had something happen one time. I was like at this hotel for like a conference or whatever, and a woman came out of the pool and heard my name and was like, I've been meaning to talk to you. I want to do a summit. Like she knew. She
already knew.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of having a narrow focus. Like you're known for that thing. And it's very easy to like refer you and get referrals as people are like, oh, Telesummit, Leeann, as opposed to strategic business coach, which everybody is, right?
Right. And ironically enough, then within that niche, having the strategy background made me even more unique within that niche because some people did implementation, but nobody did strategy and implementation.
Right.
So it allowed me to be even more unique within that niche and to charge more.
Thank you, Leeann. That was great. I appreciate your sharing your story with us.
Oh, my pleasure. So much fun.
And if you are interested in learning more about sales and the way that Leeann was talking about it and my system and structure that I've developed, I have a bunch of videos on sales. So we've gone ahead and pulled all those videos into a playlist, and we're sharing it with you below. Enjoy.
And then the other huge thing, which I also learned from this process, is they would talk to me, and then I'd send them this proposal.
Oh, the proposal.
I wouldn't even tell them the price sometimes.
Why did you do that?
Oh,
everybody does that, so it's okay. But why did you do that?
Because I was nervous. Because I felt like when you're holding that back, there's this feeling of like, I'm going to charge you this much. You're worried what they're going to say. You're afraid they're going to reject you.
Yep.
You don't have, at that time, I can say I didn't have confidence in the price. I didn't have confidence in what I was delivering.
Right.
I knew it was good.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of
right.